Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here. I am live here from my beehive. That's what I call my studio here in the Boston area. Today is Casing Tuesday, so it's the day when we pick a card out of the catalog. There's samples all throughout our catalogs, and you can use those samples, you can recreate them, or you can take them and use them as a starting point for a different card. And so that's what we like to do on Tuesdays. We pick a card and we all do the same card. So today's card is in the annual catalog, and we just take it and we give that card a makeover. And so what I like to do on Tuesdays is share my card with you and how I made it. Today's card is really a simple card. So I'm going to do a couple of different things today because I'm going to have probably some extra time, because usually my Facebook Lives on Tuesdays go about half an hour, and I could probably stamp this card in 5 minutes and be done. That's actually a good thing, because sometimes we need an easy card that, you know, to stamp quickly, to send to someone. So I love the fact that we have all different levels of cards and that this one is easier to do. So I'm going to show you my card. I'm going to do it in a different color, and then I'm going to show you how to do it just a little differently. It's kind of a similar look, but I'm going to do it slightly differently. So what's been going on this week? Well, we've got the Share What You Love bundle promotion going on. So you've got customers can do an early purchase of products that will be in the new catalog, and we have 3 bundles to choose from still. Today, if you go to the Stampin' Up! Store and look at all the retiring products, you will notice that some of them are discounted up to 50% off. So I highly recommend that you go in there and see what is discounted. There's some good things that are 50% off. Some are less, but it's a great time to grab up those items before they're no longer available. What else can you order? Oh, I'll talk about our new in colors coming up, and Stampin' Up! Has also released our new in colors, at least the ink pads, as a bundle that you can order this month. And I think it's a great idea to get the ink pads this month, because you can, not only do you save 10% when you buy them as a bundle, there's 5 of them, but you can also see the new ink pad, which I think is great. You get a chance to try them out without having to, you know, change your whole collection out. You get a chance to try them out in a nice little collection, and there's 5 of them, so you can see how nicely they stack. And so I really think if I were a customer right now, I'd probably go ahead and go get those ink pads, because usually they don't let customers have the new ink colors until the annual catalog starts. So this is kind of like a little bonus this month. If you go to order them right now, you'll notice that it says that they are on back order. You can still order them. They will be, once the new ink pad colors come in, they will be shipping those to you. I don't know if they will wait until they have all of them in to ship all of them to you, or if they will ship some of them to you first. I'm not sure about that, because I just noticed that this morning when I clicked on the link. But if you order them now, you're going to get them ahead of anyone else who orders them later. So I would go ahead and get them now, so that that can be the new thing that you try out. That's kind of ahead of schedule. So I am going to turn the camera around, show you the card that we're casing today, and then I'm going to show you my card, and I'm going to work through it and show you how I made it. So let me go ahead and find the little button that turns everything around. There we go. It's a sunny day today. I just love sunny days. It makes me feel happy. Oh, okay. I'm moving my camera. That one, it was a little tight. Okay. Get it set up. Sorry for the movement. Okay, I think I've settled down. So today's card is this easy card right here. And this one actually uses a memories and more card in the background. And then this stamp right here is stamped over top of that. And then you've got the classic label punch with the little greeting from the Teeny Tiny Wishes stamp set. And if you don't have this stamp set yet, I would get it now because it's retiring soon, and it was in the catalog for a very long time. And it was in the catalog for that long time for a reason, because it had so many different little greetings in it that can fit in our little punches, and they make great little greetings for little favors and stuff. So Teeny Tiny Wishes, I think it's definitely one of those stamp sets that you'll want to collect. And that you'll want to have, you know, even past the retiring time. You might want to pull it out every once in a while because it had all those little nice little greetings that fit in there. So I love this card. I think it's an easy layout. Maybe not for everyone, but all you need is kind of a big image down here and then a little greeting up there. And I think it's quite a simple card to kind of put together. So this is what I did with it. I used a different flower. I've used the You've Got This stamp set. The reason I'm using this one is because it's retiring this month. So this stamp set is guaranteed available until, I can't remember, it's May 21st or 22nd, around there. And so you can still get this all this month until around May 20 something. And then after that point, it becomes while supplies last. And I think this is such a beautiful stamp set. It's got this main floral image, 3 greetings, and this nice background stamp. So you can use it in different ways, but I think it's just a really sweet stamp set. So that's why I wanted to highlight it one more time to remind you, like, don't let this one go either. And then I'm also using marbled. Oh, I'm not gonna, that's kind of for my other card, sorry. Let me put that aside. I'll show you what I did with the marbled stamp set afterwards. So really, I only used one stamp set for this card. Very easy. So how did I do that? Okay, I need a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I was gonna write down my measurements, but I forgot to, but I believe, yeah, this is 3.5 inches by 4.5 inches. We're gonna need a piece of scrap cardstock. I'm just using a piece of grid paper here, just to protect my work surface. I thought it would be fun, instead of stamping this card in, here are the new ink colors that you can order right now. If you're in the US, they are $33.75 for all 5. When you buy these as a bundle, you save 10%, so that's cool. But I did this card in Blueberry Bushel, and it is this beautiful blue. I love this color, but I thought, why be boring? Let's try a different color. So I chose another dark color in this collection, and I thought we could use or stamp our image in Lovely Lipstick. It's kind of like a nice red color. So the way you open these new ink pads now, I like to open them like this, you know, right here. And then you shove the ink pad this way. If you have trouble doing this, I like to stick this on the surface and just push down. That makes it a little easier to push them down and to open them. We have to find, with every new product, you have to find the best way to use it. And after a while, you won't even think about opening the ink pads up anymore. But whenever we get a new product, sometimes it takes us a little while and we're like, this is not working well. Well, I think these are great ink pads. I think we just need to get used to how to use them. So that's my little tip for you today. We just have to learn how to use them. And maybe over time, I'll find an even better way to open them. The other thing I think with these ink pads is that they need to relax a little bit. Just like with our old ink pads, some of them, when we got them, they were pretty stiff. And so some of these open really easily and really quickly, and some of them are a little stiff. So I would just, you know, use them and they will relax over time, I'm sure. Okay, so enough blabbing, let's do some stamping. So I've got this big floral image. So I usually like with a bigger stamp, I like to pick up my ink pad and do this. I don't know why, I feel like I have more control when I'm doing that. Make sure it looks nice and inky. I want to stamp the right side of my image right along the right side of the card, and I want that first leaf to be on the card. So part of the stem is coming off, so I'm just going to kind of align this and stamp down. This is one of these stamps where, you know, it's a big stamp, so you don't really have to worry about stamping it perfectly. Isn't that pretty? I love that. Okay, so then I want to add a little bit more of a flower right here to fill that piece in just a little bit on the side. So I'm going to ink it up again, and this time I'm going to angle the flower to fit in between here, just kind of like that, just to fill up the space a little bit. So that's it for the big flower. Then how I close this is I pull this towards me, and then I grab this back piece and then I pull them apart till it clicks all the way to the end, and then I fold it over and shut it. That's the best way I found to get it back out and closed up. But look at these. I just have to show this to you one more time. Isn't this nice how these stack together? We never had that before. I could never have shown you the other ink pads together like this in a collection. So this is just very nice to have them stack like that. They take up a lot less space too. Oh, haha, I put my ink pad away and I still need it. So, well, let's just set this aside for a moment. You're going to need a piece of crumb cake cardstock. And I cut this one to, I'm going to say 3 3/4 inches. Yep, 3 3/4 inches by 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to take my triple banner punch, open it up. Now I'm going to stick it down the center here, but sometimes when I'm punching something that doesn't fit perfectly in the slots, it doesn't always align properly at the back of the stamp. So what I like to do is I like to get it in the correct slot and then take it over to the back so I can see it. And then I like to make sure that the bottom of the banner is centered and looks properly aligned, because sometimes it gets a little askew. I don't know why, but when you're stamping like a 1 inch, it just slides in there perfectly and there's no chance for there to be an error. But with if it's a little skinnier, you have to be a little bit more careful. So I'm just going to punch that. So there I have my perfect little banner end. I get to open this ink pad one more time. So it will keep getting less stiff. And then remember, I like to slide it down like that. And then I'm going to use the I'm Here For You. Ink that up, and I just want to stamp it pretty close to the end, or sorry, the banner end, because I want to be able to tie some ribbon around on this end. So then I'm going to pull this forward a bit again, and then grab the end, and then I pull these apart like this, and then close it up. So see, it's not hard to close them at all. All right, so now I just need to layer everything up. I think I've got all my pieces, except I need the ribbon for that. So let's do this first. This is the lovely lipstick cardstock. Now this is not available for customers yet, but in June it will be available. It is cut to 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches and then scored in half at the 5 1/2 inch mark. The good thing about this card is you could theoretically do it in whatever color combination you wanted to. So it's, you know, you just choose one color and you choose the same ink and the same color cardstock as your ink color. Got some Tombow here. And let me see if I can squeeze some out without putting too much on there. Sometimes that's hard to do. And I want this to be a little bit askew. So I'm just kind of pointing, doing the bottom. I'll show you in a second what I did. So this piece, crumb cake cardstock, is 1/4 of an inch bigger. Let me see. No, 1/8 of an inch bigger. So it is actually 3 5/8 by 4 5/8. So I've just got the cardstock tilted so that it touches on all four corners. So it's just a little bit tilted on there. So then I can go ahead and add Tombow to the back. And this time I'm going to put it on straight according to my crumb cake cardstock. Just trying to center that up a little bit like that. Now we need to bring in, where did I stick it? This is the crumb cake classic weave ribbon, and this is carrying over into the new catalog. So I'm just going to tie this. I'm going to need my handy dandy locking tweezers. So, and I'm going to need some scissors to cut off my ends. So let me just get this kind of situated. Just going to tie a knot on top of my cardstock here. And then, I'm sorry if you hear chainsaws in the background today. I don't know if my camera's picking that up. My neighbor is having a huge tree cut down today, and I had no idea that was going to happen, but I don't like to change my Casing Tuesday time. I hope it's not too disturbing. So I've got my first knot here, and then I'm going to take these little locking tweezers. I'm sure you've heard me talk about these before. I got them at the beading department of a craft store. They're just good to hold a knot down in place. And then I can come in and do my second knot without having to worry that it's going to lift up. Actually, this ribbon, though, is staying down pretty nicely for me. But it allows me to kind of slowly to create my knot and to create a nice looking knot as well. And I can loosen those up. And that looks pretty good. Just arrange the ribbon a bit. And then I can just come in and cut off the ends. That looks pretty nice. And then I'm going to just add this up top here like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put Tombow on the ribbon as well because it's right near the end. And I want to make sure that that end doesn't stick up. So I'm hoping that that will help this piece stick down. And then I'm just going to put it maybe about 1/2 inch, maybe just a little bit more from the top. And just add it to the card like that. So, what do you think? Do you like the blueberry bushel one or the lovely lipstick one better? I don't know. I think they're both nice, and I don't know, I think they'd make a nice little set now that I think of it. I think I don't know, I think the yellow would be a little too light, but I could see doing it in the Grapefruit Grove and the Call Me Clover. But I think if you did it in the two other colors aside from the yellow, I think it would look really pretty. You can't really go wrong. That's like a pretty easy card with very minimal supplies on it. I think it's a great beginner card. So anyway, I wanted to show you one more variation since we're a little bit better for time today. So I have a creative challenge on my Bee Stampers team, and I have a challenge coordinator, and she's awesome. And this card, she did a challenge this month, which is like an ink only card. So we're kind of, all of our team are kind of like, oh, ink only, like really ink only. So, you know, I was trying to think, what could I do for a card? Because I would try and participate. So this is the card that I came up with this morning, because I was like, oh, why don't I do an ink only card kind of on the same design? So this is a 1 layer card. See, nothing's on there except ink. Isn't that cool? So how did I do that? Because this isn't cardstock. I created like a little frame around here. So let me show you how I did that. So again, you'll need like a scrap, a piece of paper. And I thought, let's do it in lovely lipstick again, so we can like do like a different look to the card. So you're going to need a card base. Oops, I just lost a piece of paper. I'm using the thick Whisper White cardstock. You'll want to use the thick so it has like a substantial card base, especially since this is like 1 layer and it has like, you know, you just want a nice solid card base. And this base again is 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and then I score it in half at the 5 1/2 inch mark. If you don't have a scoring tool, you could also fold it in half at the 5 1/2 inch mark, or just fold it in half. I like the scoring because it has a nice crisp fold. So that's my card base. And then what you're going to need is a scrap piece of paper. So this piece, let me measure it for you so you know exactly. It is 3 1/2 inches, so 3 1/2 inches on the shorter side, and by 4 3/4 inches. So we're going to use this piece of scrap computer paper as a mask, okay? So how are we going to keep this in place? So I was playing around with this morning, because we don't really have a temporary adhesive that we can use to, like, you know, put something down and take something off without leaving adhesive on here. So I'm hoping this will work a second time for me. So let's do another little experiment. It worked for me this morning when I did the first one. So you can use your snail adhesive, and I'm just going to put a little adhesive down here in the center. And this is a very light adhesive, but it's still pretty sticky. So I'm going to stick my thumb on here a bit, and the oils, the natural oils in your hand, maybe that will gross you out, but you know, the natural oils in your hand will, or maybe put it on your jeans or something like that. So just put it on there so you can get rid of some of the stickiness. So it's not quite as sticky, but still a little bit tacky. And then you're going to center this right on your cardstock. You want to just make sure you get it stuck down there. So that's going to, so when we go to stamp, it's just going to hit on the outer part. So now you'll need the marbled background stamp, or you can use any other background stamp that you have, or you can just use sponge daubers. We're going to use sponge daubers as well, but this, just find a nice bold background stamp that you can put on the background. So I've got mine already mounted on a block, and I'm going to open my lovely lipstick ink pad yet again, and we're going to open it, and I like to slide it on my desk. It's a little easier. And then I'm just going to ink around the outside. You could ink the whole thing if you wanted to, but guess what? You're not going to actually need the ink on the center part, so why ink up the center when you don't have to? So I'm just kind of going around the outside, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to need it my ink pad again in a second, so I haven't closed it. So how do I do this so I know that it's going to get in the center? Because sometimes it's hard if you pick it up and you're trying to hover it over like this, you can't really see very well. So I'm just going to lay this down face up. I'm going to take my card, and my camera's kind of in the way. I'm going to go on tippy toes, and then I'm just going to come down with my card base like that. Okay, I got a little bit of ink on my fingernail as I was doing that, but lovely lipstick looks nice on fingernails, right? So then I'm just going to take this and flip it over, and then I'm going to apply pressure. Now, some people say, okay, just go ahead and put a piece of paper over the top and then press down. But I like to use the pressure of my work surface, and I just kind of put my weight on the background stamp. This is the way I like to do it. And I do a little wiggle back and forth, so that it makes sure to get all the edges. I just have a little bit of ink on my fingers. I'm going to try and get that off before I turn it around, before I turn my card into an inky mess. So then I'm going to lift off. Okay, right now it's looking kind of weird, right? So no worries. I need a new sponge dauber because I've never sponge daubed in lovely lipstick before. So this is a pristine sponge dauber, which I will write lipstick or lovely lipstick on my sponge dauber afterwards and only use it in this color. So I'm going to dip it in the ink, sponge it off a little bit so it's not quite as intense, and then I'm going to work from my scrap piece of paper outside. So I'm going to do this, okay, and come around because I want to make sure that I get a nice edge, so that, because when it hits the paper, that big background stamp, it's not going to get right to the edge. But if you come in now with a sponge dauber, it's going to get right to the edge. Or alternately, you can also just use a sponge dauber. You don't need to necessarily have a big background stamp. The only nice thing about the background stamp really is that now you've kind of got a little bit of texture in your frame. So that is what I like about that. See this corner right here? It didn't get that background stamp very well. So just, it doesn't matter in the end because the sponge dauber is taking care of that to make it a nice uniform looking frame. So you can just go around if you see any like lighter spots that you want to just, you know, darken up a little bit. So there is the frame. So now it's the big reveal. Let me peel this off. Okay, and that did pretty well. Like my adhesive didn't stick too much. So isn't that kind of cool? The beautiful, beautiful frame. Okay, so now, okay, I need Post-it notes because now I want to kind of mask off my bottom when I'm stamping. So I'm going to put this down here like that. And I've got my flower back here. Ink this up. I'm going to do it kind of exactly the same way as I did my other one. I'm going to make sure my flower is just inside the frame and my leaf is just inside the frame too. So go ahead and stamp that down there. And then I'm going to come in one more time. Now I'm stamping it the different way, right? Oh well, it's working. And then I'm going to come in. Oh, before I do that, I want it to look like a true frame, so I don't want to see any part of the flower on the frame. So I'm just going to mask off my side as well, okay, before I stamp. And then I'm going to come in like this and stamp this down like that. All right, that looks pretty good. Now we peel the Post-it notes off and see what it looks like. See how we're building the little card, and then we're going to ink up the I'm Here For You stamp, and we're just going to add that right to the top like that. So, what do you think? I think these two look kind of cool too, right? So that's just an alternate version of the same card that I did this morning. Let's bring them all back out here just so we can have a look. So we've got our one layer simple card, but you don't need the cardstock, right? Because you've created a frame with the ink. So it looks like you have cardstock, but you really don't. And then, you know, you've got your little stepped up card with a piece of cardstock behind in the little banner. So I think they kind of all look cool. I don't know, what do you think? I'm gonna go back. I was like so busy blabbing this morning, I haven't looked at any of your comments. So looks like people are having a sunny morning. I hope everyone's having a sunny morning. Good morning, everyone. Someone here from Texas, that's cool. Okay, and someone said they like the lovely lipstick a little bit more. That's cool. I like it because, I mean, yeah, the lovely lipstick card, you know, you have a lot more flowers in red than you do in blue. So yeah, I kind of like both of them. The blue is kind of more cool tones, the reds are more warm tones. So I think it's cool. I think they make a really nice set. Someone said they love the ink only card. Thank you. All right, well, let me turn you guys around. I don't see any questions. If you ever have questions for me while I'm doing this, just please go ahead and ask them, because I will go through afterwards and just take a quick peek and make sure that there's no questions about anything that's going on Stampin' Up, because, you know, we have different things going on all the time. When I first started Stampin' Up, we didn't have as many promotions, and so there wasn't all the stuff that we had to keep up on. And now it seems like every week there's something new that I need to announce or talk about, and sometimes things are confusing. I think things aren't as confusing for me because I have been with Stampin' Up for over 12 years, and it just, I don't know, it makes sense to me. Even when I became a Stampin' Up demonstrator, I had been a customer for 3 years before that. And my upline and I were really good friends. And we talked a lot on the phone, and we talked a lot about the business side of things too, because I was really interested in it. But I'm kind of a slow adopter, I guess, because I didn't jump in right away and become a demonstrator. You know, I wasn't quite ready yet. I have never had a hobby this long, so I was kind of like, kind of dumbfounded that I liked it so much, and I really didn't know how long I would stick with it. I thought, you know, maybe I'll do it for a little while. But here's the thing about this hobby. It is, it is about the hobby, but it's also a lot about the people. And if you've ever been to a Stampin' Up event, or you've been to a class, or even with me online and doing a Facebook Live, it's more than just the stamping. It's about the connections, right? And so that is the cool thing about stamping that other hobbies don't have. Like, okay, maybe if you're a golfer, I always go back to golfing as a comparison for hobbies, because, you know, golfers, they have the social end of things, you know, but the stamping is like the giving part of something. You know, it's very easy to give away a card because usually you can make more than one of the same card, and you're making a lot of them. So it's easy to like give someone a card and you know, here you go, you know, thank you, or I hope you're doing better, or happy birthday. I mean, it's something simple that you can do that is very sweet. So it's a very giving hobby. So it's that combination between the social and the creative and the giving that makes this a really, really special hobby. So anyway, I hope this week you create some cards and get them in the mail. Don't be afraid to send out your cards. And I hope Casing Tuesday will give you the confidence that, you know, you can post your cards on our group, on our Facebook group. And if you need to find that group, go in the description of this video. There's a link, a direct link to that group. And you can, if you're not a part of it yet, you can ask to be a part of it and we will approve you. So, you know, go in, see what other people are doing, and share your card with us, or share your card with someone else. Send it out in the mail, leave it on someone's doorstep, brighten someone's day. That's what we do as stampers. So don't forget to not just hoard your cards, but send them out. I'm guilty of this too as well. So my challenge to you this week is make a casing card and get it in the mail. That will be, and post a picture of it first. How's that? All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a fabulous week, and I hope it shines. The sun shines for you in at least part of your week. I know that's not possible all the time, but I hope you have a sunshiny week. All right, I will be back here next Tuesday. See you then. Bye-bye.